Hello, good evening. Evening. Good evening and welcome to our class for tonight. Okay. So those of you that are just joining, you're welcome. So guys, our today's tutorial. Hello. Thank you so much. Marcia, good evening and you're welcome. So today's tutorial is a requested tutorial. Someone actually sent this. So you can see. So this is what we are going to learn how to do today. Just the the blouse. So what I'm going to do, we're going to draft the entire pattern. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draft the back of the pattern. Okay, so let's see, let's draft the back of the pattern. Okay, all right. So the first thing, so let's draft the back. So the back is a normal back, so it is a bustier. For those of you that don't know how to draft a bustier, so the first we're going to do, so if you are just joining, you're welcome. You are welcome. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I am going to mark. Good evening, concept, you're welcome. So the next thing we're going to mark, so this is our shoulder line, and then this is our bust point, and then our under bust. Okay, so from this under bust, I am going to, so we're doing a half cut, so I'm going to mark 17. So 17 inches is the half cut. So all of these lines, I am going to connect them. So I'll connect them with a straight ruler, and then I will, okay, so I'll name the lines again. So this first line is our shoulder line, and then from the shoulder line to the bust point is 10. So this is our bust point, and then from the shoulder line to the under bust is 13, and then from the shoulder line to the half cut is 7. So this is our half cut. So these are the three basic lines that I need if I want to achieve what is on that picture. Okay, so like I said, our back piece. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add our shoulder line. So the measure line, the shoulder measurement. Good evening, thank you so much, all of you that are joining, you're welcome. Please let me know where you're watching from, where you are watching me from. Just drop it on the comment section, like the video, and you can just say hi, say hello. So when I'm done, I'm going to greet you all very specially. Those of you that tuned in, I'm going to give you guys some shout out. Okay, so yes, so let's continue. So our shoulder measurement is 13. So 13 divided by 2, you're going to have 7. So you, sorry, 6.5. You mark it here and then add half inch for stitching allowance. Those of you that are giving me hearts, thank you. And then from that point, you're going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so from that 1 inch, I am going to connect that line like this. I'll connect it to the shoulder line. So you see, I'll connect it to the shoulder line. So that first one did not get there. So from this point, you're going to mark what we call the armhole. That's the round sleeve. So in order for you to mark your round sleeve, what you will do, you divide your bust circumference. That's the round bust. Divide it by, okay, you divide that into 6 and then add 1.5, or you can just take your tape around like this, and then when you're done, divide that into 2. So I'm going to use the one that you take your tape around like this. So when I do that, I have 15 inches, so I'll divide 15 into 2. I have 7.5. So I'll mark the 7.5 at that point, and then from that rule a straight line like this. Okay, so when I rule a straight line like this, I'll connect that line this way, and then I'm going to create a armhole. So in order for me to create the armhole, I'll come to this point, I'll check the midpoint, and then I'll just connect it. So I'll connect it. So that's my armhole. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark all of my measurements. So the bust measurement that I'm using, I'll use 36. Our under bust is 30, then the waist is 34, and then the okay, the waist is 34. So these are just the three measurements that I need. Okay, so now our 36, we divide our 36 into 4. We're going to have 9 inches. I'll add 1 inch for that, and then add 2 inches for allowance. So I'll come to my under bust line. I'll mark the 30 inches. I'll divide that into 2. I have 7.5. I'll add 1 inch for stitching allowance, and then I'll add 2 inches for the measurement. That's allowance. Okay, so the next thing, I'm going to come to the waist measurement, which is 34. So that 34, I'll divide that into 4. So when I divide that into 4, I'll mark it here, and then I'll add 1 inch allowance for that, and then I'll add my stitching allowance. So when I am done, all of these lines, I'm going to connect them together, so you can see. So I'll just connect them like this. Simple. It is a simple process. Okay, so that's that. The next thing I am going to do, so if you have questions, you can drop your questions. So the next thing, I'll come to this point, like I want to mark my dart. So for the dart, I'm using 9 inches, so I'll divide that 9 inches into 2. When I divide that into 2, I'm going to have 4.5. So can you see the way I'm connecting the 4.5? So when I connect the 4.5, I am going to connect it with a straight ruler. That's, I will join all those three lines like this, or join them like this. So after joining them, I am going to come to this point. So that 1 inch that we added as that, I want to take that out. So I'll mark the 1 inch, I'll divide it into 2, and then I'm going to connect it to that bust point like this. Okay, so when I do this, I've taken out my dart already. But most times, if you have been following me, you know I don't like darts that are hanging. So because I want to extend this dart to shoulder line, I'll mark the neckline for the back. So for the width of the neckline that I'm going to be making use of for the back, I'll use 3 inches. And then from that 3 inches, I'm going to come down with like 2.5 inches. So I'm using 3 by 2.5. So when I am done, I'll just connect the line like this. So when I connect the line like this, what I have here, I'm going to check what I have. I'll take the midpoint of it. So it's a little bit more than 4 inches. I'll just check, bend my tape that way, and then I'll connect it. And then when I am done, I am going to just run that line like that. This ruler did not do. So I'll just mark it straight like that. So now I've taken my dart up. I'm just going to cut it. So it's not like I'm transferring it. I just want it to have a straight cut. So that is why I did that. So this is all we need for the back part of our blouse. Okay, so I'm going to take this out, and then we're going to work on the front. So like I said, a subscriber actually sent this picture to me, so that is why I am making the tutorial. So some of you, there was somebody that chatted me one time. She wanted me to do a tutorial, and then at the end of the day, she got angry that I am always saying I've heard. The truth of the matter, okay, let me save the story for another time. Let's continue. So the next, I'm going to mark my bust point, which is 10, and then the under bust is 13, and then our half cut we're making use of 17 inches. I'm not adding any bust that, so I'll use 17. So from that point I am going to connect all of these lines together. So I'll connect them this way. So I'll connect them this way. So the next thing I'm going to mark here, I'll come to my shoulder line. So we're using 13 inches divided by 2, which is 6.5, and then half inch allowance. From that point, I'm going to mark 1 inch that I'll use as my shoulder slope. And then that shoulder slope, I'll connect it to the shoulder line. Remember, these are our lines, just like we did with the front. This is shoulder line, this is bust point, under bust, and then waist, okay, or half cut. So the next thing, from this point, I'm using my half of my armhole. I used 7.5. So I just marked my, that is, I just took the tip round my armpit, and then cut. I marked it out, okay. So the next thing we're going to do, so this line is going to serve as my chest line. So the next thing I'm going to do, I want the midpoint of this, I'll mark it this way. I'll just come in like a quarter of an inch, and then I'll just use my ruler. Can you see? I'll connect it this way, and then I'll place this like this. Can you see? So I want to hit this point, okay. So I just adjust it, and then I'll connect it this way. Can you see? So this is how you draft this pattern. You can see it's very beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to take out our, want to create the bustier pattern. So the next thing, in creating that bustier pattern, we're using our bust span, which is the nipple to nipple measurement. So professionally, like I always say, it's called a bust span. So from one nipple to another, so we're using 9 inches. So you divide that 9 into 2, you're going to have 4.5. So this 4.5, we're marking this 4.5 across all of our lines. So when it comes to making dresses, it is a simple process. When it comes to making dresses, what you need is for you to take a good look at your style. Do you understand? When someone sends you a measurement and send you a picture like, this is the style I want, take a very good look. Can you see? I've already marked those lines, so but I've stopped. You understand? So I want to check my blouse. That's the picture they sent. Which bustier pattern do I think will fit into this? Do you understand? So that's just like the easiest way for you to be able to interpret your styles. If you must know, do you understand? So you will check. So okay, let me see now. Okay. So for this one now, if I say okay, let me use this. I'm just like, now I'm talking out loud. Do you understand? Okay, so if I'm checking, let me just talk out loud normally how I would talk if I am to analyze this style by myself when I want to sew it. Okay, I will check, I'll zoom it, I will check, I will like, okay, this hand, it has a little part of the shoulder. Okay, so it's not entirely tube. That is not an entirely, it's not like we're cutting off the whole what do you call it, out. Okay. Okay, so this other one now, this one, this side has sloped. Okay, this slope is sloped in the armpit area. Okay, that means this side has like a strap. That's the strap that was coming, it has like a strap. Then you check this strap, you check it. Am I going to make it like an off shoulder, or is it joint? I'm just like talking out loud, oh. So you push, you just understand what I'm trying to do. Okay. I'll check. Okay, so this one, since this one has strap, okay, so that means I'll come in by 1 inch, mark it this way, and then slope it into this armpit area, and then mark it. That's how you will analyze your style. Do you understand? So you check it very well, you analyze it, and then before you continue. Okay, so this, since this one is like this now, so I'll now check. Okay, so that means I can use the shoulder dart and posterior pattern for this, since the neckline is straight, so I can use the shoulder. So that is how you will analyze your style. So after analyzing it, you check it very well. now say okay, so I will continue with my pattern. So I just connect this with a straight ruler like this, okay? So when I connect this with a straight ruler, the next thing I am going to do, at this point you have to be checking everything. The next thing I'm going to do, I want to add my dart, okay? So for the dart, I'll use 2 inches for my dart. So the 2 inches, I'm putting it on one side. So I'll mark the 2 inches like this. So when I mark the 2 inches for the dart, I'm going to connect it to my bust point. So that is how you actually describe your styles. You understand? It's not like somebody just gave you style, you are confused. You don't have to be confused. You check it properly. Like I used to tell people, learn pattern, don't learn style. If you learn style, when you see a new style, your mind, everything will be, you get confused. But when you learn patterns, when you see a style, you take a look at it. When you look at the style, when you open it, when you look at it, you already know, okay, this is this pattern that they use. Don't learn, don't say I want to learn this particular style. It's wrong. If you learn a particular style, you will never learn anything when it comes to sewing. You will just keep limiting yourself. So when you learn pattern, bustier patterns, now learn as much bustier patterns that you can learn. Off shoulder patterns, learn as much different ones that you can learn. Different, just learn them. When you learn them, you will now be able to adapt them into any style. It's not like new style. It's the same pattern that we have been using since our grandmother. It's like this corset. Now everybody is doing corset. I remember that time, is it 2006, all those 2005, during Good Luck Jonathan wife. Go and check all of her old pictures. Corset she used to wear that time. You understand? Corset came that time, but now it came in another modern way. So most people don't know. You say, just want to know. Don't do that. Enough of my talk for today. So the next thing, from this point, I'm going to mark this down. So for the down part, I use 2 inches. I'll use 1.5 inch here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to connect it. So sometimes when people come and say they want to a particular style, the thing used to make me angry because you're just limiting yourself. You don't know. The best thing for you is for you to learn patterns. When you learn patterns, there's not be able to sew. When you see any style, you'll be able to analyze the style and you just sew it easily. Okay, so let's continue. So the next thing, we're going to come to this top part now. So you guys, let me know where you're watching me from. Hit on the like button. Please, you push, you please like this video. Check this side. You see 3 dots. Like it, I would appreciate. So now we're going to work on the style line. So before we work on the style line, the next thing, I'm going to take this my dart. I'm going to extend it to the top. Okay. So as I'm extending today, before I extend it, before I take this line up, take a look at our blouse. Can you see? You see the neckline, you see the neckline up. So that's what we want to mark now. So for this, I'm going to use 3 inches. So I'll place it like this and then I'll mark 3 inches. And then from that 3 inches, I'm going to come down. So this, I think, let me just use my pencil. So from that 3 inches, I'm going to come down. So it's just a little bit. So I'm going to come down to about like 2 inches. So I'll mark the 2 inches here. So when I mark my 2 inches here, and I'm going to mark, I'll connect that. Okay, so when I connect it, so now I have the straight part of my neckline. So the next thing I am going to do, so this neckline, it is an asymmetric neckline, if you notice. Okay, that's so we're going to open up our pattern and work with it. That's when we're going to open up our pattern. Do you understand? So let's continue. So the next thing, from this point, I'm going to check what I have. I'll take the midpoint and then I'm going to connect my dart. So I'll connect my dart. I'll connect it. I'll just connect it to that point like that. Okay. And then I'll blend it. So I can use my marker pen now for that. So from this point, I'll just connect my dart this way. Then I'll use my pattern curve. Just give that a beautiful curve. Can you see my that? And then let's mark the neckline back. So we'll connect our neckline. So the next thing, now let's take out our full body measurement. So you see how our pattern is coming to life. So the body measurement, so like I said, we're using 36 for our bust circumference. So that's 9. I'm just going to mark it here on that chest line. and then I'll add my 2 inches dart and then add my stitching allowance. Okay, and then I'll come to my under bust. So from the same thing I have here, I'm just going to extend it. So I'll come to my under. For the under bust, I'm going to be making use of 30 inches, which is 7.5, and then I'll add my 2 inches dart and then add the stitching allowance. Okay, and then I'll come to my waist. I'm using 34. I'll divide that into 4, add my 1.5. You know, I reduce that at the down point 1.5, and then I'll add my stitching allowance. So when I am done all of these lines, I am going to excuse me, I'm going to connect them. Okay, so I'll connect them this way. So that's for that. The next thing now, we're going to cut out. So let's cut out so that we can open up our pattern. So if you are just joining us, you're welcome. Please let me know where you're watching me from. I would appreciate that. You can like this video. So the next thing I wish I have is a tracing wheel. I'm going to open up my pattern this way. So I'm going to be working with this side. Okay, I would have used the tracing wheel to do this so that it will be, everything will appear. My pattern will appear. So I'm just going to make do with, so I'll just extend my lines like this. Okay, I'll extend my lines, and then the next thing I am going to do now, we're going to work on our on the neckline. So I'm just trying to finish up the neckline on this side like this. Okay, yes. So now the next thing we're going to do, spread open my pattern. So I'll use my pencil for this. The next thing I'm going to come to, this is my shoulder. You understand? Can you see? You see, this is my shoulder. So I'm going to check this part now. I'm going to check how many inches do I want. Remember, I added half inch to my pattern, so I'll put that into consideration. Okay. So another thing that I can do, okay, let me not go faster than myself. So from this point now, I'm going to mark. I'll come in by, I think I'll use, since I added half of an inch to my neckline, I'm going to use like 1.5 inch. As I'll come in by 1.5 inch from that point. So I'll mark the 1.5 inch here. So when I mark my 1.5 inch, from this 1.5 inch, I'm going to come down. So I just want people to see how to analyze styles now. I came in from here, I came in by 1.5 inch. You know, I'm going to still trim out half inch because there's half inch allowance I added. So now you have, that's this point. Now that's from this let me see, I hope the light is highest sef. So from this one down to this point, that's this 1.5 inch. So now the next thing we want to do now, that's this point. How this point, do you understand? So and then if you check, you will see that this point is like the chest line point. That's this side that it floated to is the exact chest line. Do you get? But on this side, it did not get, on this side, it did not get, is a little bit higher. So I'm just trying to make you guys to understand. So from this point now, I'm going to come. So my chest line, I'm using 7.5 on my chest line. So I'm going to come to this point like this. I'm going to use 6 inches. You understand? I'm going to use 6 inches or 5.5 inches. So that 5.5 inches, from that 5.5 inches, I'll just mark this line. I'm not going to make use of it. So it's to connect this to this point. Okay, so I'll connect it. So I'm using 5.5 inches. So that 5.5 inches, I'll mark it. So I've marked my 5.5 inches to this point. That's this one now. So the next thing I'm going to do now, this part now, if you take a good look at it, you see that this part, it came like this and then terminated here. So what I'm going to do now, from this point like this, I am going to, I think I still need to go down a little bit. The 5.5 is not enough, it's too short. So I'm going to use 6 inches. So this is 6 inches. Yes, so I'll use 6 inches. So from this 6 inches, I am going to, this is my chest line. So everything, basically what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to mark something like an L. Do you understand? I'm just trying to mark something like L, like this. Can you see the way I'm marking the L? As I am marking it, I am floating it into my armhole. Exactly, that's exactly my shoulder line. That's the sorry, exactly my chest line. So that is what I am doing. So as I mark it, I came here, and then from this part like this, I am, so I'm marking it like a curve at the down part. That's why I'm making use of my pencil. So I'm just trying to teach you people how to do all of these things. So you can see I'm just creating a curve, and then as I create the curve, I'm going to go like this, and then I'll float that into this part. Okay. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to come to this part. Okay, so we're going to come to this part now. So we've gotten this shoulder part. The next thing now, just now, you are going to check from the neckline how wide you want that part to be. So from that neckline, I'm going to use 1.5 inch. Why am I using 1.5 inch? Because after stitching and sewing, it's going to reduce to like 1 inch. Okay, so I'll mark that now. So once I mark that, I want to use dotted lines to try this out. So the next thing, I'm going to check from here to that point. Okay, so when I check from here to that point, how many inches, I can decide to do like 4 inches. Okay, that's from this point. Maybe it's going to be like 3.5. So from this point, I am just, if you notice what I am doing, I am just using dotted lines. Guys, I'm using dotted lines. Just see what I am doing now. So I have a curve there, and then that curve, sorry, I have a curve there, and then that curve. When it gets to this part, the curve will start coming down. You understand? So the curve comes down, and then it ends here. It ends here. So this is going to be the one that is going to be for my yoke. Just take a good look at it. Can you see? So I've not used my marker. Can you see the shape? Can you see? So now I am just going to create that curve now. Create it nicely because I've used my hand already to mark it. Can you see? I hope you guys can see. You see the shape. So almost of these things, when you are doing them, you just check them. You understand? You check them. Can you see? So I'm just taking a look at it. I'm just standing here and I'm taking a look at it. If my style line is okay, so I think it is okay. So I'll just, so this is going to be, this is entirely my yoke. So this is entirely my yoke. So I think what I have is okay. So now I can I can use my marker pen now to mark all of this, to connect all of them. So if you have questions, please, you can drop your questions. You can drop your questions. So this one, yes, if you notice, it is a little bit curved. That is why I'm using this curved part. So you have to be careful because at this part now, at this point, if you make any mistake, there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. So when you get to this point, you are going to turn your pattern paper because from this side it's curved and blended. Can you see? And blended into the chest line. Okay, so now we are done with that. So the other one, the top one, we are going to create our curve. So everything you are doing, you just make sure that you are taking a very good look at it. So at this point, we blend that part. Can you see? Can you guys see? You see what we are doing? So now we are done. So now we're going to cut. So the first thing, this part now is our yoke. This yoke, when you finish sewing, so the person that sent in this tutorial, when you cut this yoke out and keep it because you are going to bring it back. So this midpoint, if you replace it with a tool, you can replace it with a tool. If you want it like that, you can leave it. Okay, so the first thing, so like I said, the first thing we are going to do, so I'm going to check. Thank you so much. I'll read all of your. So the next thing we're going to do, that's like the first thing, we are cutting out our yoke. Can you see the way the yoke looks? Can you see? You see it? This is that top part. Okay. So now after cutting out that part, now we can now go ahead and cut out the bustier part. That's our bustier part. So this shoulder is turned like that. Okay. So we can now go and we can now cut out our bustier part. So this line now, so that means this line now we're going to extend it. Let it hit with this one. You understand? So let it hit. So you see it. So at this point, if you don't do it very well, you can just scatter everything. You can scatter all of your patterns. So can you see? You see this part now that has shoulder. So now this part now, we're cutting this part out. That's this part. So this is the part I was telling you that if you want to replace, so remember, can you see? So if you want to replace this with a tool, you can replace it. Can you see? Can you see the way it looks? I want you guys to take a good look at it, okay? So when you join this part and then you join this part, okay? Can you see? When you join this part and then our yoke is going to stay like this. Can you see? Can you see? You see the way it is looking? Can you see? And then you fix your sleeve here. So this part, there's an opening here like this. So this stays like this. So there's an opening here. So your sleeve will stay. That's the sleeve will stay like this. You understand? So you can see. So your sleeve, so after fixing this, your sleeve is going to stay. It's going to connect these 2 points together, and then you have your other sleeve on this side. So thank you so much, all of you that joined, that tuned in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you can see that we achieved the shape, okay? So now I'm going to just give shout out to all of the good, beautiful people that tuned in to this tutorial for tonight, okay? All right, let's see. We have Marcia. Marcia, hello, good evening, Marcia. Thank you so much. Then we have God Give Concept. Good evening. We have Nazi Stitches. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you. Appreciate. We have Rufiat. Rufiat, good evening, ma. You're welcome. Thank you. Ayon with Dorcas. Dorcas, good evening. God bless you so much for joining. And then we have Solu. Okay, Rafiat, you're watching from Lagos Island. Wow, thank you so much. We have Choma. Choma, thank you so much. Ah, Choma, you're watching from India. Wow. That's beautiful. Nigerian in India. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And then we have Lesina Nanu. Hi, you're watching from Las Vegas. Wow, thank you so much. Mary Betty, good evening. So for those of you that tuned into our tutorial for today, good evening. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Thank you for your like, for the support. I appreciate each and every one of you that joined. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow by God's grace. I pray.